Then we'll call you buying from now on. Unexpectedly, the next moment, the baby kicked hard against his mother's belly, as if protesting that the name was too old-fashioned. So she ate 10 bowls of mung bean porridge. The baby in her belly finally settled down, changing let out a long sigh. It seemed this little one like mung beans. From then on, she ate mung beans every day. After eating them for a week, she was sick of them. 2 weeks later, seeing mung beans was like seeing excrement. I don't want to eat mung beans. I want meat. At this time, the handsome fish dragged his battered body over. Jingjing asked what happened and why the handsome fish looked like grilled fish. The little blue cat was embarrassed and speechless. You're still joking at a time like this. I was driven out of my territory by a group of crocodiles. There were too many of them, I couldn't even enter the water. Are the crocodiles alligators? That's right, once I find a mate and have 100 mare people, I'll drive those alligators back to where they came from. Bai Jingjing suggested he move to another river, but all the nearby areas were occupied by alligators. The leopard bared his teeth in anger. He rashly declared he would go deal with those bullies. Chinching urged him not to be impulsive. Alligators were too dangerous. Vincent was the Tiger King. They could ask him to go check it out together. After Parker and Vincent left, he instructed the little leopards to find the veterinarian Harvey. Unexpectedly, the little leopard cubs tripped over a smelly foot. They stumbled and crashed into a pile. The little blue cat said superficial wounds didn't need a vet. Ching Ching sighed, saying he was almost like grilled fish. Still acting tough, the handsome fish rubbed his head, secretly overjoyed, thinking Bai Changing still cared about him. But the next second, she pushed away his fishy hand, casually saying rest well. She turned and left. The little blue cat went from joy to sorrow, his hopes dashed. After returning, Bai Ching quietly climbed up to the tree hollow, afraid of disturbing Curtis's hibernation. But before she was halfway up, she fell on her bottom. Seeing this, the cubs wanted to drag their mother up. Suddenly, they got a knock on their heads. Who was it? Which careless person? It turned out to be the mischievous snake Curtis. He picked up his wife, holding her tightly in his arms. Your hair is as messy as a chicken's nest. He took out a comb from his bag, gently helping her fix her hair. The wife doting Snake's grooming made her hair beautifully shiny. She couldn't help but drool at the sight of herself. Then he picked her up, wanting to kiss, hug, lift her up and make babies. So the two of them started smooching again. By coincidence, the leopard suddenly returned. The scene before him was unbearable. As if he had drunk a vat of vinegar, he burned with jealousy. The little leopard cubs were lying at the tree hollow entrance, watching. The leopard dad angrily pulled them all down. The girl and the python cuddling to make snake eggs. In an instant, a strong wind blew. The biting cold wind made him shiver. The little leopard immediately brought hot water. The howling cold wind in the darkness made him uneasy. At the crucial moment, Vincent brought a light orb. The three little perverts stared at Changing along the light with intense heat. Fortunately, Curtis was still in front, blocking the view. Unexpectedly, the snake turned to walk out. Now she was fully exposed in front of Vincent. He noticed the little tiger's lustful gaze. The little leopard suddenly came close to her, clamoring to help her take a bath. Vincent also eagerly came over to join the fun. He declared he wanted to sleep with Ching Ching. The girl frowned, feeling a bit uncomfortable. After all, they had become mates out of necessity. The little tiger's face was full of disappointment. It turned out this was all Curtis's idea. The cold weather made him sneeze. In this environment, he couldn't hug Ching Ching to sleep anymore. So he called Vincent up. He couldn't let the little leopard have her all to himself. At this moment, the tiger and leopard were fighting over sleeping with Ching Ching. At the crucial moment, the little tiger happened to have something to do outside. The leopard's eyes flashed, secretly overjoyed. The next second, the flamboyant leopard pounced on her. You're mine tonight, the little leopard howled, transforming into a fierce wolf. He actually started tickling his wife's armpits, then moved on to the main event of cuddling and making babies. Unexpectedly, Vincent suddenly returned, ruining their good time. Parker was instantly furious. What perfect timing he had. Chinching invited him to come sleep together. The little tiger swallowed hard, his cheeks flushed. He shyly approached, bashfully lying down next to his sweetheart. Whoosh, the blanket covering him suddenly disappeared. It was a mischievous leopard playing tricks. The little tiger shivered from the cold. Seeing this, Chinching tugged the blanket to cover him. For the first time, he felt Vincent's warmth so clearly. Early the next morning, while Ching Ching was still asleep, Vincent secretly touched her little belly. Just as he was absorbed in the moment, she suddenly stretched. Turning to her side, she hugged him. The little tiger got so excited he transformed into his beast form. His little heart was about to explode. His whole body stiffened, unable to move. The girl thought she was hugging the little leopard, but when she opened her eyes, she was shocked. How could it be a tiger? And she was stuck, unable to break free. Hearing the commotion, the little tiger slowly woke up, changing, laughed awkwardly and greeting. With a bang, Vincent immediately changed back to human form. Their bodies drew closer and closer. Their gazes intertwined lovingly. After realizing the situation, they quickly separated. Changing hurriedly burrowed under the blanket, feeling flustered. This was way too embarrassing. The little tiger scratched his head, not knowing what to do. So awkward he could curl his toes and dig out a villa. The girl giggled stupidly, trying to break the awkward atmosphere. Unexpectedly, it became even more awkward. Fortunately, several little leopard cubs rushed in. The leopard mom quickly called them under the blanket. The little ones were shivering from the cold. Teaching gave them a good rubbing. The leopard cubs felt their mother's warmth and meowed. So he decided to build a nest for the cubs. A while later, Parker prepared a table of delicious food. Vincent saw Ching Ching and the leopard being lovey-dovey. He pouted, full of melancholy. He turned to leave to avoid being an eyesore. Just as he reached the cave entrance, Ching Ching called him over to eat. The little tiger's heart instantly blossomed, turning sorrow into joy. He eagerly went forward and covered her hand. I'm just gonna build a nest for the leopards. I'll be back soon. However, some were happy while others were worried. The little leopard grumbled, spilling the vinegar jar. You've been interacting a lot with that tiger lately. Interaction is fine, but not more than with me. All right, Changing couldn't argue and nodded in agreement. The mischievous leopard was overjoyed, ruffling his wife's hair into a mess. He then pinned her down and tickled her armpits. The leopard almost laughed himself silly. The gasping man ran around howling. Finally, he whimpered and obediently surrendered. On the other side, a female ran into the tribe, panting heavily. Suddenly, she fainted on the ground. Several eagle beasts carried her back and notified the Tiger King. Vincent was curious where this female came from. Could someone be trying to get revenge on us by deliberately releasing a tiger female into our territory? The eagle beasts who saved the female were excited. They begged the Tiger King to let them marry on the spot. However, the more Vincent looked at this female, the more familiar she seemed. He then lifted her double chin. When he saw that face, his scar dropped in shock. It was actually his old acquaintance Rosa. The woman had been wrongly accused and had her tongue cut off, unable to speak. She babbled and tightly hugged Vincent's leg. The Tiger King instantly bristled, quickly trying to send this scheming woman away, but she held onto his leg tightly, not letting go. She even shamelessly kissed his leg hair. Vincent cried out in disgust. He grabbed the woman's hair and kicked her flying with one foot. Coincidentally, this scene was witnessed by Jingting. The tigress had her tongue cut off by the Ape King. Then she escaped into the Tiger King's territory, wanting to forcibly have cubs with Tiger King Vincent. The little tiger kicked the gorilla woman flying with one foot. Coincidentally, this scene was witnessed by Bai Jingjing. Vincent was afraid his wife would misunderstand. He ordered someone to throw the scheming woman out of the tribe. In an instant, a storm broke out. The eagle beast carried the tigress back again, begging the Tiger King to temporarily take her in. Otherwise, he would die. Vincent couldn't bear it and let the scheming woman stay. After returning to the tree hollow, Ching Ching asked him why he drove away that female. She's not suitable to stay here because she's a scheming woman. Rosa heard this and everyone was shocked, especially Parker, who was furious. He had almost been forced to marry Rosa before. Bai Ching Ching had nearly died at her hands. The little leopard praised Vincent for driving her away to prevent the leopard cubs from being eaten by that tigress. At the thought of food, the leopard's eyes lit up. Taking advantage of the rainy season, he went out to catch a big crocodile. After the rain stopped, they started preparing a crocodile feast. Ching Ching's mouth watered, thinking it was wild boar peppa meat. Eager to try it, she said, "It's so delicious." "What meat is this? How's the taste of longevity meat?" "Tui, tui, tui." Learning it was crocodile meat, she immediately spat it out. The leopard burst out laughing. "What kind of divine eating method is this? It's all leaking out of your mouth." Meanwhile, the scheming woman Rosa finally woke up. The single dogging show was excited. He wanted to mate with the tigress on the spot, but remembering that she liked the Tiger King, Vincent gave up this unrealistic idea. Seeing this, the scheming woman's lips curled into an evil smirk. Then the eagle beast took her to find the Tiger King. Seeing the perverted Vincent, the tigress pounced on him. Pointing it by changing nearby, she barked incoherently. Thinking of all the past humiliations and nearly being fed to crocodiles by that old geyser, Ape King, she wanted to tear by changing apart alive. Making sounds, she gestured for Vincent to mate with her. "Keep dreaming, I'm already mated with Ching Ching," he said, holding his wife in his arms. The tigress' heart shattered, refusing to believe this reality. She charged forward, wanting to tear her rival apart. Seeing this, Vincent gave her a big slap that left her dazed. He ordered his show to drag the scheming woman away, informing the group leader no males are allowed to mate with her, or they'll be expelled from the tribe. Ingsho had planned to be with Rosa. Hearing the Tiger King's words, he instantly deflated. He immediately carried the tigress away. Vincent comforted his wife, asking if she was scared. Rosa didn't scare me, you're the one who scared me. After saying that, Vincent gave her a princess carry back home. Shortly after they safely arrived, Parker widened his eyes and got jealous again. Grumpily, he handed his wife a bowl of mung bean soup. Ching Ching gulped it down in one go. She acted cute, hinting for another bowl. The leopard couldn't resist this sweet attack and finally gave in. Eventually, they returned to the tree hollow. The snake woke up with his hair in a twist. Thoughtful Ching Ching helped him untangle it. She called Vincent to come help too. Curtis gave Vincent a death glare. Scared, the little tiger ran away with his tail between his legs. The snake was secretly pleased. This tiger beast was much more sensible than that stupid leopard. A few days later, the tribe was invaded. A group of crocodiles frantically slapped their way into their treehouse. The powerful shockwave shook them. Swaying east and west, the snake rushed back after hearing the commotion. You dare to cause trouble in my doorstep? Looking for death with a flick of his tail, he tightly squeezed the crocodile's neck. Anyone who threatens Ching Ching must die. At this time, a female was running to find her mate. Vincent shouted danger and carried her back. The little tigress cried and threw a tantrum, insisting on finding her husband. Soching told Parker to go find her mate. The couple finally reunited, hugging tightly. Curtis learned there was another male in her cave and his face darkened. With a flick of his tail, he threw the male out. The little tigress tried to pull her mate back. The snake's sharp eyes flashed. No other males are allowed here, only you can stay. However, the little tiger insisted on following his mate. Early the next morning, the crocodiles attacked again. The vet Harvey was blocked from escaping. Parker roared angrily, pinning the crocodile to the ground and biting it, sending it to meet its maker. Then he brought the vet back to examine Ching Ching. Ching Ching worried if Curtis would also kick Harvey out. For his wife's health, Curtis could only endure. After examining Ching Ching, the vet went to check the crocodiles. He found that the smell on them was very similar to Rose's. It turned out that these crocodiles were all attracted by this new spirit. The woman had eaten the crocodile king's wife. She wanted to use this to take revenge on Bai Jingjing. A group of crocodiles came to attack the tribe. Vincent hid all the females in a cave. Parker immediately smashed a big crocodile. He stood it into fragrant meat. The vet Harvey brought a bowl to the nervous woman Rosa. He found that the smell on this woman was very strange. At this time, a group of crocodiles rushed into the cave. Parker grabbed a wooden bucket and was unstoppable. The heads of these four-legged beasts were buzzing. However, strangely, more and more crocodiles kept coming. Vincent felt something was amiss, so he questioned Rosa if she had anything to do with it. The tigress shook her head frantically, refusing to admit it. Secretly, she was delighted because she was in a highly sensitive period, and she had eaten the crocodile king's female. That wanton smell on her body could drive male crocodiles completely crazy. Vincent saw that the new female refused to admit it, so he called the vet to look for evidence. They found that the smell on the female crocodile was exactly the same as Rose's. He was furious and immediately returned to the cave. At this point, the new female still tried to quibble, but facts speak louder than words. Vincent suddenly burst into anger. I gave you a chance, but you're as stubborn as a mule. With that, he dragged her out. They came to a cliff crawling with crocodiles, then he lifted her high above his head. Without mercy, he threw her off the cliff. A group of desperate crocodiles swarmed over. They mistook Rosa for a wanton female crocodile. The crocodile king couldn't wait to have 100 babies with her on the spot. Accompanied by a piercing wail, the tigress' pupils dilated, dying with her eyes open until she was dragged away by the crocodiles and completely devoured. People should be kind. They absolutely can't do such things that lead to their own demise. It turned out the mastermind was that old bastard Yuan Wang. Curtis instructed Vincent to take good care of Jing Jing. He was going to settle scores with that old bastard. The little leopard secretly rejoiced. That domineering snake was finally gone. That ugly tiger could be ignored. I can finally have changing all to myself. Unexpectedly, Kurt has called him to go along. The little leopard pouted and protested angrily, but he couldn't beat the snake. The snake dragged him away. In the end, only Vincent and Chin Ching were left to sleep. Knowing that from now on, she would only sleep with a little tiger every day, the girl's face turned sharp rather than a monkey's butt. The two were so awkward they could dig through the earth with their toes. Fortunately, the leopard cubs rushed out to break this awkward atmosphere. Vincent breathed a sigh of relief. He took his chance to go make some food. In no time, he had prepared delicious meat. The warm-hearted little tiger finished feeding. Jingjing then continued feeding others' cubs. He thought it would be nice if Changing could give birth to a litter of tiger cubs for him too. The leopards saw through his little thoughts. They scratched him while howling and even used tiger skin as clothes, playing merrily. After eating and drinking, Vincent picked up his wife to sleep. The two lying on the bed attracted the leopard's mischief. They clamored for milk. Vincent was eager to have tiger cubs with Ching Ching. He chewed away the little leopards. The two finally got to cuddle and hug together. Meanwhile, the snake and leopard invaded the ape king's territory. Curtis ordered to surround the entire tribe. At this moment, the ape king's wife was still leisurely grooming the few hairs on her head. The old bastard burst in frantically. He dragged his mermaid wife 80 years younger than him, fleeing in panic. But the next moment they were blocked at the door by Curtis. "Old bastard, your time has come." The bad old man broke out in a cold sweat. His treacherous eyes suddenly turned. The king of hell suddenly transformed into the charming and alluring Bai Jingjing. "Little snake, come here quickly." This flirtatious move almost made Curtis fall for it. He thought, isn't Jingjing pregnant? But why is her belly flatter than an airport? After realizing, he twisted off its arm in one move. The bad old man was exposed, coughing up a mouthful of old blood. At this time, the mermaid leader rushed in. The mermaid princess saw him as a lifesaver. She abandoned the old bastard and threw herself into someone else's arms. Before leaving, she even planted a kiss on that wrinkled old face. Unexpectedly, the mermaid leader picked up Yuan Wang's wife and quickly fled. The bad old man once again used illusions to confuse Curtis. He threw himself into his arms, acting flirtatiously. Who could resist this move? Luckily, Parker discovered this scene. "It's you, this old thing, causing trouble again." With that, he launched an attack on Yuan Wang. But he was no match for the old bastard. The opponent was knocked down, then he barked frantically at Curtis. "Hey, hey, hey, domineering snake, the source of Ching Ching's troubles is behind you." Hearing this, the snake suddenly trembled. That anger in his heart counteracted Yuan Wang's illusion. Yuan Wang spat out a mouthful of old blood. Parker seized the opportunity to pounce on him. The old bastard was very disdainful, trying to resist. Unexpectedly, Parker bit his neck off in one bite. The Bai Jingjing and Curtis's arms also disappeared. In this world, if a woman is pregnant, she must cuddle with her husband every day. Otherwise, the baby and her belly will die in the womb. The little tiger got his wish, smooching with Bai Jingjing. After finishing, the round belly finally had a reaction. "This is too magical. Would the effect be better with a biological father? Baby, you're not deliberately creating opportunities for your own father, are you?" Then she kissed Vincent on the mouth again. "You old six, you actually stole a kiss from me? No, I have to kiss you back," he said, then smooched her. Ching Ching, not to be outdone, pulled the little tiger into the blankets. "This is you seducing me, you know." Dad started cuddling and hugging to make babies again. Meanwhile, the snake and leopard brought back over 100 beastmen to join the tribe. Among them was a snake cub mixed in. Parker turned his head and discovered him. "Isn't this Changing snake cub? He's grown so big." The snake daddy glared with sharp eyes. "Considering you're still in cub state, I'll pretend I didn't see you this time. Don't appear in front of me again in the future." The little snake was so scared he peed himself and ran away. Curtis warned Parker not to tell Bai Jingjing about this. The daredevil leopard actually said it depends on his mood. His coolness lasted less than 3 seconds before he was beaten senseless. Shortly after they returned to the treehouse, Parker smelled something off about Ching Ching. Learning that she had already cuddled and hugged with Vincent, his tears gushed out like a fountain. Curtis smirked slyly, looks like it was successful. At this moment, there was a commotion outside. Ching Ching looked out and was shocked, her jaw dropping. Over 100 female Vincents had just joined the tribe. They were being assigned mates, hearing they could freely choose their desired partners. The females were delighted. "If you choose me, tiger males can immediately move into comfortable nests. If not chosen, you'll have to wait for your original mates to build them themselves." Hearing this, the wolf beasts bared their teeth in protest. They glared fiercely at Vincent, wanting to rebel. The Tiger King simply disdained these clowns. Those who disobey orders, the wolf pack surrounded him menacingly. A wolf beast who overestimated himself launched a sneak attack. Vincent effortlessly grabbed its neck. He threw the wolf beast away like a rotten egg. Seeing it was too weak, the wolf pack retreated step by step, completely subdued. At this time, the males began dueling to choose mates. but the females had their eyes on the little green peacock. However, the little peacock couldn't let go of Jasmine. He pretended to pass by and brought her a string of fruits. I saw you were so pitiful, want some fruit? You can't even find a mate. Saying this, he casually tossed the fruit to her. The little tigress took a bite and nearly lost her teeth from the sourness. The sassy little peacock squawked, "If it's sour, just throw it away. I won't bring you any more, I just like sour things, the sour are the better." The little green feather thought Jasmine still couldn't forget him. "Your broken-eared mate is useless. You should find another handsome and capable one like me." As soon as he finished speaking, he was hit and left gasping for air. "Damn it, I want to find a male who's more capable than you, narcissist." "Then you can wait slowly." Hearing this, the little green feather was so angry his head smoked. He turned and flew away without looking back. 2 days later, Parker spilled the beans about seeing the snake cub. Chin was both surprised and delighted. She begged the leopard to help find the snake cub. The wife-doting maniac gladly agreed. He received a kiss from his little wife as a reward. Parker instantly became energized. He would go out to search for the snake cub even in a storm. The little snake heard the call and darted out. The leopard immediately rushed over excitedly. He was just about to reach out his hand to grab it. Unexpectedly, the snake cub turned and dove into a tree hole. Parker used all his strength to try to pull it out. The next second, with a ripping sound, the snake's skin suddenly tore open. "Oh no, I've torn it apart." The little snake cub went limp and fainted. The leopard was as anxious as on a hot pan. Hey, 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 you absolutely can't die. It's your mom who asked me to find you." Saying this, he rubbed the snake's head with a stick. The snake cub suddenly woke up, scaring Parker into falling on his butt. "Damn, I almost tore Ching's snake cub apart." He pretended to cough to ease the awkwardness. He said he could take the little snake to see its mother. "Be careful in the wild. The crocodiles here are dangerous." "I think you leopards are more dangerous." Parker waved his hand guiltily and quickly slipped away. He told Ching the good news about finding the snake cub. The snake mother was overjoyed. She rewarded Parker by allowing him to snuggle in her blanket. Their conversation woke up Curtis. He was instantly filled with rage, wanting to swallow the leopard alive. Parker tiptoed away quickly to save his life. Then the snake came to Ching. "This time, let the snake cub meet you once. If they can't leave you, don't force me to kill them." The girl was wrapped by a small snake cub. However, she was still laughing happily. It turned out the snake cub was her child. Seeing them hugging so intimately, he felt sour and uncomfortable. This perverted little stinky snake is just like Curtis. Before he finished speaking, the snake cub rushed towards him. The two fought angrily, tangled together. By Changing shouted angrily, "Both of you stop it." Hearing the boss speak, they stopped fighting. The little snake excitedly pounced towards its mother. It wrapped its tail around her plump waist. Parker instantly burned with jealousy, but Changing told him to quickly make a fire and cook. The leopard could only swallow this bitterness pitifully. The little snake wrapped around its mother tighter and tighter. Parker was so angry he ground his teeth. After cooking, Ching personally fed the little snake cub. Thinking of the other missing snake cubs, her eyes welled up with tears. Parker saw it was getting late and urged them to go back. The little snake wanted to bite his little butt off. Fortunately, the snake mothers stopped this rude behavior in time. "Mom doesn't want you to be in danger. We'll come see you next time." Mother and child embraced reluctantly, crying. She wanted to bring the snake cub back to the tribe, but feared Curtis would beat it. "You need to grow up well, then you won't be afraid of your father beating you," she said, kissing the snake's head. Parker didn't want to see them being lovey-dovey anymore. He picked up his wife and left with big strides. The little snake cub cried heartbreakingly. The snake mother was in tears, heartbroken. "Stop crying or I won't dare bring you out next time." Hearing Parker's words, the crying stopped abruptly. In a blink, they arrived at the water hole. The handsome fish saw By Changing and suddenly darted out. His little eyes were extremely fawning. He used sweet words to coax Changing into the water to have fish babies with him. Parker was burning with rage at the sight. "Do you want me to tear that stinky fish mouth of yours?" The little blue cat sensed trouble. He quickly fled. Time flew by and By Ching reached her due date. The snake still wanted to kiss, hug, and lift her up. The next moment, his stomach suddenly hurt intensely. Could it be time for delivery? Curtis immediately prepared for the delivery, but he realized that he as a man didn't know how to deliver a baby. Just as he turned to find a vet, Ching grabbed him. "It's useless to call the vet now, let's wait a bit longer." At this time, Parker arrived after hearing the news. By Changing was an unbearable pain but couldn't give birth. The leopard still had the mood to joke that she gave birth to air. His wife couldn't help but burst into laughter, then she felt dizzy and drowsy. Curtis told Parker to quickly find the vet. Shortly after, the vet Harvey arrived just in time. Vincent received the news and followed closely. After diagnosis, Bai Jingjing still had about 10 days before delivery. The little tiger was surprised. He was also happy, calculating that the baby was most likely his. He was instantly filled with fighting spirit. He built a house for his wife and child day and night. All the Beastmen in the tribe were tortured into having panda eyes. After unremitting efforts, he finally built the Castle of Love. On the other side, Ching Ching's stomach hurt unbearably. The little tiger hurt his wife's wails. He immediately flashed to her side. Bai Jingjing mumbled with her little mouth, half dead. Parker couldn't control his emotions, telling the vet to think of a way quickly. Harvey tremblingly said there's no way to stop the pain for this birth. The snake, tiger, and leper were stunned. The leper had suddenly lost control of his emotions. He threatened the vet with death to ensure Ching Ching's safety. Harvey was also helpless. Some females even couldn't bear to drink abortion medicine. That's why females were so rare and precious. At this time, Bai Jingjing was in unbearable pain. She bit her tongue, accompanied by a scream. Blood seeped from the corner of her mouth. Seeing this, Curtis put his hand in her mouth. Don't bite yourself, but me if you need to. Ching Ching cried out in pain and pushed his hand away. Silly, I'm not in pain. The snake kissed his wife's forehead. She wanted to cry but had no tears. It's my teeth that hurt. Your snake's skin is too hard. At the crucial moment, Harvey handed over a piece of beast cloth. Your skin has scales, it's too hard and will break her teeth. Jing Jing held on, the big white teeth breathed a sigh of relief. She endured the pain and bit the beast cloths. Her 3 husbands kept encouraging her to keep going. That little expression was even uglier than crying. The girl was in tears, exhausting all her strength. Hearing this, if it really doesn't work, they'll do a C-section. Wu Bao and the other firmly refused. Only Curtis agreed to this method. As long as you won't be in pain, I'll do anything. Afterwards, I'll accompany you to drink the soup of oblivion. The leopard angrily pounced on Curtis. I won't let you cut open Ching Ching's belly. Vincent, fearing he might hurt by Ching Ching, hurriedly stopped him. Unexpectedly, he was rewarded with a big slap. Get out of here, all of you. It's because of you that Ching Ching is like this. At this time, the vet lifted the leather skirt, preparing to deliver. Stop arguing, the baby is coming out. It's born. Bai Jingjing finally gave birth to a human-shaped porcelain baby. But she was on the verge of death. Due to difficult labor, she left a pool of blood. Everyone was as anxious as ants on a hot pan. The vet hurriedly brought hemostatic herbs. Everyone desperately tried to save her. But the situation was still not optimistic. The vet shook his head helplessly. In this situation, females usually don't survive. The 3 wife-doting maniacs felt their hearts turn to ashes. Parker asked if it were a male in such a weak state. Would there be a definite answer on survival? He turned grief into joy, saying Ching Ching's body was stronger than most males. If males can survive, she definitely can too, Harvey pondered for a moment. He instructed everyone to keep Bai Jingjing warm. If she can make it through tonight, a miracle might happen. The little tiger was heartbroken and wanted to come forward to help. Unexpectedly, the leopard angrily shouted, Get out of here. You've caused Jingjing to be like this. You don't deserve to be here. Vincent couldn't argue back, feeling extremely guilty. He wanted to hold his lover's hand for a lifetime without separation. But Parker wouldn't let him have his way. He mercilessly threw him out of the tree hollow. The deafening roar made the little one cry loudly. The noise made Curtis's face contort with impatience. He gently patted that soft, chubby face with his snake tail, then he kissed his wife's forehead. Don't worry, I'll take good care of little C's eye. Meanwhile, Vincent looked at the castle he had built for his wife and child with his own hands. He couldn't help but burst into tears. Ching Ching, you must live. The snake and leopard stayed up all night watching over by Ching Ching, but she still hadn't woken up. Parker held her cold hands, praying for her to wake up soon. The next second, she let out a breath. The snake and leopard were overjoyed. Perhaps their love had awakened the girl, but as soon as she woke up, she was almost bitten to death by the leopard. Seeing this, the snake quickly pulled him away. Bai Jingjing was eager to see. Parker immediately handed the baby to her. Looking at the baby in her arms, she felt mixed emotions. Why does this child look both ugly and beautiful? Of course it's ugly, it's Vincent's female cub. Hearing Parker's words, Ching Ching was both surprised and delighted. Just then Vincent appeared. Why is your face swollen like a pig's head? The leopard snorted coldly and grinned. I beat him in a Peppa Pig. Who told him to cause you such pain? Ching Ching scolded Parker, saying he couldn't always bully Vincent in the future. If he fights back, you probably won't even recognize your own mother after being beaten. The little tiger was overjoyed to be defended by his moonlight. Holding his own child, his hands were shaking with excitement. I'm finally going to be a father. He wanted to rub those chubby little cheeks, but the little one tightly grasped his hand. Vincent's eyes welled up with tears. Crying with joy, he said, and in his so beautiful, looking exactly like her mother. How is it alike? It's all wrinkled, looking like a little old lady. Vincent smiled cunningly. Wait until she grows up a bit more, then you'll see. At this moment, the baby suddenly started crying loudly. The tiger dad was at a loss. Changing quickly took the tiger baby. It turned out she was just hungry and wanted milk. Everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief. The tiger mom couldn't help but laugh. These silly dads. Vincent informed Ching Ching that the castle was ready and they could move in any time. Bai Jingjing was delighted, saying they'd move in after the postpartum confinement. The snake was confused about what postpartum confinement was, and if it could be sat on, what does postpartum confinement look like? I'll go find it right now. Hearing everyone's words, Ching Ching almost laughed her period out. She explained that postpartum confinement is a 1-month period. She also explained the precautions for postpartum confinement one by one. The three wife-doting beasts carefully took notes. After a while, they were full of enthusiasm, claiming they had learned everything. With the careful care of the snake, tiger, and leopard, the month quickly came to an end. They thought a human-formed baby would be easier to care for. However, things didn't go as planned. The little one cried, fussed, and peed constantly. Waves of foul odor assaulted their noses. Harker, being a doting father, took care of it himself. After cleaning up, the baby finally stopped crying. But strangely, although the little one was awake, no matter how much they tried to open its eyes, they wouldn't open. Ching Ching felt something was terribly wrong. She quickly called for the veterinarian. Away explained that human-form female cubs have more delicate bodies. The eyes would open naturally at the right time. Ching Ching's worried heart finally relaxed. A few days later, the baby finally opened its eyes. Those watery, big Maybelline eyes were so beautiful it was breathtaking. Bai Ching Ching had given birth to a human-form female cub, but the baby was wrinkled like a little old lady. However, the moment she opened her eyes, it was absolutely stunning. Everyone was dumbfounded and overjoyed. Ching Ching couldn't help but exclaim that it would definitely be the most beautiful female in the beast world when she grows up. So she asked Parker to call the veterinarian to examine the baby, but Vincent strongly objected. And in his so beautiful, we absolutely can't let other males see her. Parker surprisingly agreed with Vincent's words. That's right, no one can see her. If anyone comes, I'll break their legs. Even Curtis joined forces with the tiger and leopard rivals. The three formed a fatherly protection alliance. You guys are too much. Harvey is a veterinarian. What if something's wrong with an end? The three pouted and reluctantly compromised. When the vet came, they warned him not to touch or look unnecessarily. Otherwise, they beat him into a pig's head. A few days later, Ching Ching, who hadn't been out for almost a month, felt stifled. Day after day of restrictions, she'd had enough, so she used her trump card of acting cute and coquettish. Using a flirtatious voice, she begged Vincent to let her go out. Thinking she was the queen of husband manipulation, she expected him to give in. But unexpectedly, she was met with a ruthless refusal. She pouted and grumbled. Suddenly, a bright idea struck her. The Lion Castle is more spacious. Let's move there now. Unfortunately, Vincent was stubborn and refused to agree. Bai Ching Ching instantly exploded. In the modern world, she had many forms of entertainment to pass the time, but in the beast world, there was nothing. Besides eating and sleeping, she was going crazy. The leopard eagerly helped him pack his things. Wanted to go out, she was again stopped by the little tiger. Ching Ching said not taking proper postpartum care would lead to health problems. The females here don't need postpartum confinement. If you don't believe me, go ask the vet Harvey. Parker said there's no need to ask. He had his own way. He then walked out of the cave and shouted loudly for Harvey. Can Chin Chin go out now? Harvey was so startled by the piercing shout that he wet his diaper. He claimed that going out for fresh air would help with recovery. Husband Harvey said it's okay. Please agree with me. Vincent couldn't resist his wife's coquettish plea and gladly agreed. He was overjoyed, holding Parker's hand and dancing. On the way, they passed upon and met the handsome fish. Seeing Bai changing, his eyes lit up. He couldn't wait to see the little in it. Parker claimed the wind was too strong, not allowed to see, so the little blue-haired fish blew a big bubble. He said he could put the baby in the bubbles. After changing agreed, the little leopard reluctantly took the baby, then put her in the bubble. However, the handsome fish kept staring at Bai changing and giggling foolishly. Parker suddenly burned with jealousy. He grabbed the little blue fish's head and said, "Stinky, salty fish." You wanted to see Annan saying this while forcibly pressing him to the bubble. The handsome fish's eyes lit up suddenly stunned. Goodness, how could there be such a beautiful creature in the world? Seeing this, Bai Jingjing became worried. Even the picky handsome fish reacted like this upon seeing Annan. Other beastmen would surely be more exaggerated. In the future, they'd have to keep the baby well protected at home. If an ant is spoiled too much and becomes uncontrollable, it would be terrible if she turns into a second Luosha. In the blink of an eye, they arrived at the lion castle. Ching Ching was amazed by the large courtyard where she could plant flowers and raise fish. And the interior layout was very similar to modern style. She was moved to tears. She praised Vincent for being such a good husband. The two couldn't help but embrace each other. The little leopard got jealous and kept coughing, complaining that he did all the work by himself. Changing told him to be quiet as the snake was hibernating. Then she planted a kiss on the little one's soft cheek, and it is such a good baby. After eating and pooping, she falls into a deep sleep. The next moment, the baby's mouth quivered and it broke out in a cold sweat. Then it started crying painfully and loudly. With a splutter, it spit out all the milk it had just drunk. The father came upon hearing the sound, asking what happened. The baby threw up milk. Quickly go get Harvey. Vincent rushed out like lightning. He looked up at the full moon in the sky and suddenly stopped. Could it be that on this full moon night, my scorpion venom was passed to an end? The girl gave birth to a human-shaped tiger cub. The little one suddenly spewed milk from its mouth. It burst into loud cries, milk streaming down its face. After the vet's diagnosis, he showed no symptoms of catching a cold or fever. Newborn cubs are too delicate and often die for unknown reasons. Bai Jingjing suddenly froze as if plunged into an ice cave. Parker lost control of his emotions. He grabbed Harvey saying, "Aren't you the best vet? Hurry up and think of something." Harvey said the bees' doctor's skills were limited. They could only leave it to fate. The mother's whole body trembled, her eyes full of tears. Hearing then and then might be unfamiliar with the place. Moving back to the tree hole might help her recover. If it was unfamiliarity, she would have cried earlier. But Annan was sleeping more soundly than Peppa Pig. Hearing this, she cried heartbreakingly, "Who can save my baby?" The father mumbled, gritting his back teeth. Then he held the baby, wanted to try going back to the tree hole. "I've spent more time within it, let me go." Vincent looked at his child and pondered for a moment, so he handed her to the leopard. Parker carried in and returned to the tree hole with the vet. Gently facing the moon, praying for the baby's safety, Vincent suddenly fell to his knees. The girl was completely bewildered. It said that scorpion venom can be passed to cubs. It seems to be true. Bai Jingjing was suddenly stunned. She shook him frantically, unable to believe all this. Tears gushed out uncontrollably like a spring. Vincent held her tightly, constantly comforting them. Sleepless, they waited until dawn the next second. Harvey rushed in like lightning. His little heart was about to explode, gasping for breath. Changing was eager to know an end's condition. And as she died, she froze instantly. Her heart shattered, an end was dead. In an instant, her whole body went limp and fell backward, heartbroken as if plunged into an ice cave. "I've lost my most precious." Fortunately, Vincent pulled her back from the gates of hell in time. "You still have me. You still have Parker and Curtis. And the lovely leopard cubs, we will always be with you." Heart-wrenching cries shook the stone castle to its foundations. She cried until her voice was hoarse, then fainted. Harvey quickly came forward to explain, "I just said it and fell asleep." Hearing this, Vincent's sorrow turned to joy. He scolded Harvey, saying his clumsy tongue almost made Ching Ching pass out. The vet scratched his head and laughed helplessly. "I must have misspoken when Bai Ching Ching was shaking me." At this time, Ching Ching was still unaware, crying and wailing. Seeing this, Vincent gently patted her chest, saying it's all right. And it was just sleeping. She finally realized with wide eyes. She excitedly asked about an end's condition. After getting a definite answer, she stopped crying. Her anxious heart was finally put at ease. "This is the first time I've seen someone cry so much." Before Harvey could finish, he was grabbed by the neck. Jing Ting used Lin Sin's strength to pin him against the wall. Harvey broke out in a cold sweat, wetting his diaper again. Bai Jing Ting's face gradually darkened. "Don't tell anyone about this. If Anna knows I misunderstood that he died, he'll definitely be sad." Harvey nodded, promising to keep his mouth shut. Jing Ting suddenly reacted, wanting to go get the baby. The vet ran off, saying he'd go inform Parker. Vincent held his wife's hand tightly, reassuring her. "The scorpion venom gets weaker each time, and we'll definitely get through this. Worst case, we'll go find the Scorpion King for the antidote." The girl saw hope and wanted to go now, but the Scorpion King is cunning and won't easily give the antidote. Moreover, the Scorpion tribe is huge. Our tribe can't beat them with its current size. Then what should we do? Wait until the small rainy season. I'll go get the antidote myself. As they spoke, hurried footsteps were heard outside. It was Parker bringing back Little In, and seeing it in was fine. Changing immediately felt relieved. The next day she wanted to go out for some fresh air, but Parker flicked her forehead. Her head buzzed and she saw stars. "You stinky leopard, you made my forehead swell." Before she could retaliate, he gave her a quick kiss. "It's windy outside, stay in the bedroom for postpartum care, no going out." Parker instructed the leopard cubs to watch over their mother. The little milk leopards surrounded their mother, meowing and not letting her leave. Chinching pouted angrily, "Don't think you can trap me like this." The leopard cubs stood guard resolutely outside the door. Suddenly their eyes lit up. The sight of milk made them drool. The leopard mom transformed into a cunning vixen. The cubs finally couldn't resist the temptation of milk. Like starving ghosts reincarnated, they rushed to devour it. After licking it clean, they whined to their mom. Her scheme succeeded. With a smirk, she asked, "Want more?" The little one's eyes sparkled with anticipation. The leopard mom seized the chance, pretending to feel dizzy and needing fresh air. The cubs eagerly lifted the door curtain for her to go out. For a mouthful of milk, they completely forgot Parker's instructions. Chinching told them to stay home and watch their sister. Then she sneaked out to the backyard. She happened to catch the tiger and leopard digging a hole. Their comical movements made her laugh out loud. Parker and the others looked up at the sound. They spotted Bai Jingjing behind the big tree. She was relieved, thinking she hadn't been discovered. However, as she turned around, she bumped right into Vincent. The perverted peacock beast wanted to capture the girl to have little peacocks with her. The snake, tiger, and leopard wanted to pluck his feathers and swallow him whole. In a fit of rage, they beat him into a bald bird. Seeing his plan fail, he immediately shifted his target. He set his sights on the little female tiger, Jasmine. He went to her house to force her to be his mate. Jasmine firmly refused, but her father agreed to this marriage. "He saved your life, he has the right to ask to be your mate." The little female tiger angrily chewed on a potato, looking disgusted. The crazy little peacock shook his feathers smugly. Jasmine suddenly crushed the potato, furious. She thought the annoying little green feather deserved a beating. She threw it, making the peacock beast cackle, "If you dare transform." "Green freak, are you sure? I'm afraid you'll be head over heels for me." That sneaky little look made Jasmine uneasy. The next second, the little green feather turned into a skinny, naked human. He presented himself in front of the little female tiger. Jasmine couldn't bear to look. Disgusting." The little peacock had a smug grin. He said his bee skin skirt was broken, so he couldn't wear it. He wanted the little hedgehog to make him a new skin skirt. Jasmine's eyes immediately flashed with anger. She slapped him in the face with a stinky leather skirt. The little green-haired one's eyes stung from the smell, full of disgust. That skinny little body. When he put it on, it was loose and baggy. The girl mocked him for being as thin as a rail. The peacock beast charged forward. "Wanna bet I can give you 100 babies right now?" Jasmine was dumbfounded, scared enough to start her period. She hit the pervert with a big potato. The little peacock's face was bruised. The little green-haired one quickly counterattacked, grabbing her arm. "Enough, you already have a bad reputation for abandoning your mate. If I leave too, no male will want you anymore." Jasmine glared at him fiercely, indicating she didn't care. Even if no one wanted her, she wouldn't settle for the little green-haired one. "You're not even worthy to tie my shoes. Get out of here now." The little peacock turned pale. Good grief. He claimed to be the heartthrob of the beast world. He had never been so humiliated before. Now he was stumped by this little hedgehog. He resorted to being shameless, lying in Jasmine's arms cuddling. Even if beaten to a pulp, he refused to leave. Meanwhile, the little tiger cub was crying for milk. Seeing this, Parker's eyes widened, brightening up. He picked up his wife, clamoring that he wanted to eat too. "I'll give you a whole arm to eat." Hearing this, the little leopard immediately deflated. At this moment, Chinching took out a stone necklace. The little leopards happened to sneak in. Their eyes lit up at the sight of the necklace. The curious leopards whined, wanting to wear it. The leopard mom put the necklace on the eldest's neck. This caused extreme fighting between the second and third. They almost choked the eldest. Angrily, he threw it down, causing them to tumble. The necklace flew into the air. The second jumped up, trying to catch the necklace. Unexpectedly, the third, that little rascal, bit his stinky foot. The necklace fell right in front of Parker. The little milk leopards looked pitiful, still wanting to play. The leopard dad roared, "Stop fighting. London, play with it first." The little baby stared at the stone necklace, eyes sparkling. She puckered her little mouth, swaying until dizzy. Seeing this, changing London hold it to play, the little one snatched the necklace. Suddenly, she burst into tears, crying her eyes out. No matter how they tried to comfort her, it was useless. Instead, she cried even louder. Could it be the scorpion venom acting up again? It's not even a full moon night. Parker seemed to have figured out what was wrong, so he told Ching Ching to try hiding the necklace. And look, mommy is hiding the necklace. Saying this, she covered the necklace completely. The little one indeed stopped crying. As soon as the necklace was shown, she burst into tears again. When hidden, the crying stopped abruptly. It seems the necklace was really the cause of trouble. A few days later, Ching Ching was caught by a big lion. He wanted to forcefully mate with her and have cubs. Who are you pervert? It turned out the lion beast had mistaken her identity. The girl pushed him away forcefully. My name is Bai Jingjing, I'm not Chris who you're talking about. He looked at his own attire, full of confusion. It's winter now, why am I wearing summer clothes? The lion beast suddenly threw his head back and laughed wildly. Suddenly, a group of beastmen rushed from behind. He immediately picked up Bai Jingjing and ran. Chris, I'll definitely make you give birth to a litter of strong cubs. Saying this, he couldn't wait to have cubs with Ching Ching right there. The girl covered her eyes, could only resign to fate. At the crucial moment that group of beasts caught up, it turned out to be a group of scorpion beasts. Both sides started fighting fiercely. A handsome and charming eagle beast snatched Bai Ching Ching away. Grinning with his eagle beak, he said with an evil smile, your mind. At this moment, he felt a sharp pain in his head, and N's crying echoed in his mind. The next moment he suddenly woke up, it turned out all of this was a dream. Will these dreams reflect in reality? Let's wait and see. The little couple kissed for 2 hours. The little tiger kissed until he broke out in a cold sweat. The girl gently wiped it off for him. The third husband, Parker, got extremely jealous. Angrily, he dragged his wife away. On the way, changing smelly little feet sank into the snow. The little milk leopard sensed their mother was in danger and rushed over. The girl was overjoyed. She instructed the cubs to bring some tree bark and vines. The eldest jumped onto a tree and frantically gnawed at the bark. Unexpectedly, his teeth got stuck and he couldn't come down. He sobbed pitifully in his mother's arms. When he heard Mom say she'd feed him, his crying stopped abruptly. Then Bai Jingjing tied the bark to her feet. This way, she wouldn't sink into the snow. The little ones clamored to try it too. The leopard mom instructed Parker to go and peel some more tree bark. The leopard immediately trotted off, prancing through the snow. Rip, he easily peeled off the bark, then he tore off some vines as well. Ching Ching rubbed the leopard's head, praising him repeatedly. I'm a smart, bald, strong man. Hearing this, Leopard Parker acted coquettishly, swaying his tail. His little eyes stared at his wife, extremely fawning. The girl looked at the swaying leopard tail. She zoned out and couldn't resist grabbing it. Parker immediately blushed, his whole body heating up. Bai Jingjing even put the tail on her face, nuzzling it. The little leopard bit his lip, acting coy. He was being incredibly flirtatious. Seeing this scene, the girl felt uneasy. Oh no, could this be Parker's sensitive spot? The leopard mistakenly thought his wife wanted to be intimate and moved closer. I understand what you mean. Chin Ching wants to have another litter of cubs with me. Saying this, he pounced on his wife to mate and have cubs. Unexpectedly, at the crucial moment, he was hit with a series of punches. Have your big head in this freezing weather? Are you trying to freeze me to death? Moreover, it's in front of the children. Parker covered his head, looking pitiful. Then why did you grab my tail? Chin Ching jolted and quickly let go. She then told the leopard cubs to step on the tree bark, ready to set off. The little ones jumped on with a woof. Before they could steady themselves, they were forcibly dragged away. They passed through the snake beast territory. Chin Ching kept calling for the little snake. Then Parker discovered a stone cave. He instructed the leopard cubs to take care of their mother. Then he went into the cave alone to investigate. He found a spot on the ground with a little snake scent. There's a strong smell of blood underground. Could the little snake be hiding inside? He immediately ran towards the ground. The next second, a slender white hand suddenly stretched out. Parker instinctively leaped backward. Who's there? Chin Ching heard the commotion inside and became anxious. Did something happen to Parker? In the blink of an eye, that little hand disappeared without a trace. The leopard quietly approached. He discovered there was actually a snake underneath. He immediately jumped down. He grabbed the little snake in one swift motion. The girl heard the noise and ran in. She thought Parker was holding a small female. The snake glanced at him while flicking out its long tongue. Bai Jingjing was startled and quickly retreated, until the little snake turned its head and grinned at him. Only then did he realize that it was his own offspring. The little snake struggled desperately, telling Parker to let go. It bared its venomous fangs, trying to bite the little leopard, but its coolness lasted no more than 3 seconds before being smacked repeatedly by the other. Then it slipped into the burrow. Changing wondered how the snake cub had turned into human form. A 2-year-old snake should still be in beast form. Now it already looked like an immature youth. The leopard told her not to worry. The little snake might have eaten a crystal from inside a giant beast, giving it the ability to transform early. Hearing this, she was surprised. Her worried little face gradually broke into a smile. This way, I can talk to the little snake. The neglected little leopard cubs nearby looked dejected. They held chaotically at their mother, Changing asked Parker what they were howling about. We don't seem to have told the cubs about the little snake. He tapped his head, suddenly realizing. Cubs, that one just now is your brother. The snake cub born to mom and father Curtis. The little leopard cubs were stunned. I actually have a flamboyant brother to fight over inheritance with. So they ran to the burrow entrance and barked wildly. At this time, the little snake underground was shedding its skin. Suddenly, it popped its head out unexpectedly. It scared the little milk leopards so much they wet their diapers. Then the little snake slowly crawled out. What a beautiful boy, is this really my child? It transformed. The 2-year-old snake had actually turned into human form. And it was completely naked, bare bottom and all. That little face was simply stunningly handsome. The snake mom quickly covered it with clothes. The jealous little leopard cubs howled at it. Unexpectedly, they were spanked by the little snake's tail. The other 2 old six rushed forward fiercely to help. But they were grabbed by their stinky mouse that hadn't been brushed for years. Then they were all thrown into the pit to divert the girls' attention. The little snake called Guagua kept praising how well she made the clothes. Its little mouth is sweet as honey until the little milk leopard snarled and roared angrily. Only then did Bai Jingjing notice the leopard cubs in the pit. Did the little snake just bully the leopard cubs? So she called the little ones to come to her side. She instructed the little snake to get along with the little leopards and asked him how he suddenly turned into a handsome human form. The little snake acted mysterious and chuckled. He claimed that he had eaten a ball and that ball was bigger than an elephant. The girl chuckled, you can really blow your own horns. The little snake tried to steal a kiss from the girl, but was blocked by the leopard's head. The snake mom didn't mind and wanted to give a little snake a name. The little snake tapped his head, thinking carefully about his pure white venomous fangs. He said he hadn't decided yet. The next moment, an inscrying was heard from the tribe. Jingjing called the little snake to return to the tribe together. He happily agreed with joy, but at the thought of Curtis, he trembled with fear. Shaking his head, he started to back out. Curtis is hibernating. He won't notice you. He will definitely kill me. Saying this, the little snake reluctantly took off his outer clothes. Then he draped them over his mother, extremely reluctant with a face full of sadness. Jingjing gave him a pack on the forehead to comfort him. Then the little snake took out his snake skin and offered it to the girl. However, it was refused. This can't be given away casually. You can give it to your mate when you grow up. Saying this, she draped the outer clothes back on the little snake. Before the mother and son could be surprised, Jingjing was carried away by Parker. The little snake watched his mother's departing figure with reluctance. Lonely, he was feeling melancholy on the spot. In the blink of an eye, they returned to the stone castle. Bai Jingjing was shivering from the cold. The little tiger, holding Onion, came rushing at the sound. The baby was crying and demanding milk. The girl was about to feed him, but her hands were frozen stiff and she couldn't use them. Vincent quickly covered her hands, feeling very distressed. He embraced her, cuddling to warm up. In an instant, the tiger's tail was wagging like a rattle drum. The girl giggled mischievously, evil thoughts arising. She took the chance to grab the tiger's tail, squeezing and stroking it. The little tiger immediately felt numb all over, his face flushed. Jingjing looked at Vincent's expression with some surprise. She couldn't help but cover her mouth and burst out laughing. This introvert was so fun to tease, so she kept teasing the little tiger flirtatiously. The next moment, the fierce tiger couldn't control his animal instincts and pounced on her. Jingjing understood that if they continued playing, something would definitely happen. She wanted to use the excuse of an in-drinking milk to brush it off, but was unexpectedly blocked by his cherry-like little mouth. Then he pinned her down and they started smooching. Just as the two were cuddling and kissing, an inn who had eaten and drunk his fill suddenly burped. The young couple abruptly stopped, ceasing their kissing, hugging, and baby-making. The girl pouted, feeling embarrassed. The little tiger didn't care and wanted to continue with Jingjing. Panicking, she quickly turned to take care of the baby. The little one stared at his parents in confusion, whimpering. It turned out Vincent's tiger mouth was swollen from kissing. At the crucial moment, the leopard kicked the door open. he caught sight of the two in an intimate position. Instantly burning with jealousy, he rushed in to teach the little tiger a lesson. The agile Vincent caught the falling cup. He said he was just doing what mates should do. The two rivals started arguing again over a disagreement. The girl was on the verge of tears. They were all mates, but why did she feel the shame of being caught cheating? She covered her blushing face, wishing she could find a crack in the ground to hide in. The little leopard was so angry he was grinding his teeth. Parker's face looked terrible. It seemed he needed some coaxing. She lavishly praised the food the leopard made. This trick was often used, but it really worked. At this time, Vincent had put him into sleep and declared he was going out to work. Parker angrily told him it'd be better if he didn't come back. The two immediately became tense again, but fortunately Jingjing intervened in time. The little tiger snorted coldly and turned to leave. After Vincent left, the leopard took out several clay figures. They were neatly arranged. The family quietly looked at this scene filled with endless emotion. He had already given birth to 23 lives since coming to this world. Even he found it terrifying to think about. Before he could come to his senses, Parker hugged his waist and said, "Have my child next." The father heartlessly abandoned his own children. When the young snakes grew up, he even wanted to kill them. It was because snake beasts inherit their father's memories. Once they lived with their mother, they would fall in love with their own mother like their father did. That's why Curtis drove the little snakes away. The snake mother, kept in the dark, still secretly met with the little snakes. She lavished her motherly love without restraint, behaving intimately. Little did she know she was planning a time bomb for herself. Watching his mother's departing figure, the little snake developed a desire to snatch his mother away from his father. As the cold season was coming to an end, the leopard had created a weapon with extreme destructive power. Excited, he kept circling around the girl, showing off his unique weapon's courage. He almost scratched her face. Luckily, Vincent stopped him in time. He pinned the leopard against the wall. "Do you know what you're doing? You're wearing iron claws now." Parker suddenly realized and regretfully sobbed. He threw away the weapon and cried as he pounced towards Jingjing, still bouncing around, indicating he was fine. The leopard explained the weapon's structure to him. Curious by nature, he took the iron claws. His little hand trembled and touched the mechanism. With a swish, the sharp claws suddenly sprang out. He was extremely excited, shouting that he wanted to go out and play with the iron claws. Wanted to try out the new weapon's power. The whole family got ready to leave. The little leopard cubs also clamored to go along. The next moment, there was a sudden earthquake. It turned out to be the commotion caused by Curtis waking up from hibernation. The girl joyfully threw herself into the snake's arms. They said, "I missed you," to each other. The two who hadn't seen each other for a long time embraced tightly. They almost wanted to have cubs right there on the bed. Parker gritted his teeth, filled with jealousy. He clenched his back teeth, controlling his anger. But the next scene could make the leopard explode with anger. The snake actually asked Jingjing to feed him water with her little mouth. In front of so many people, the girl was extremely embarrassed. She quickly handed the cup to Curtis. "You drink it quickly." The rope snake went chomp. Parker, wearing the iron claws, angrily spun around in place. The friction sound of the iron claws made the girl's ears buzz. She hurriedly reminded the leopard not to hurt himself. Receiving his wife's concern, the leopard scratched his head and grinned happily. Suddenly, he sneezed unexpectedly. The iron claws slipped onto his fur. In an instant, leopard fur scattered all over the ground like flower petals. The girl immediately came forward to help check. She pouted, feeling it wasn't good. She gestured with her hand to indicate a large bald spot. The non-mainstream leopard instantly became a bald leopard. The little leopard went limp all over and fell down crying. "Let me die for a while, I'm too ugly to face people now." Jingjing said it could still be saved. She acted cute and claimed she'd be a puppy if she lied. Parker could only hope for the best and believe her. The girl transformed into Tony the hairdresser to help trim the leopard's hair. Afraid of cutting off Parker's head, she called Vincent to pick it up. The little tiger took the iron paw and gladly agreed, "I'll do it." Curtis cracked his knuckles upon hearing this. The three of them grimaced, terrified, fearing that if the snake got upset, he might just chop off the leopard's head. Parker trembled, praying to heaven to bless Tony, the hairdresser. By changing, directed how to cut from the side. By now, Parker was so scared he was peeing. "To Tony Masters, why don't we just forget about it?" Before he could finish speaking, Curtis pressed him down. "If you move again, I'll shave you bald like Strong." Saying this, he cut off the fur on the leopard's neck with one swipe. The non-mainstream hairstyle instantly turned into a bowl cut. The girl, against her conscience, exclaimed how handsome it was, from super handsome to super weird. However, he still acted vain about it, enjoying it immensely. Ching Ching took out a mirror to let him see his own state, but to avoid hurting Parker's feelings. She can only tell a white light praising how cool the hairstyle was. Then the whole family happily went out to play. The leopards had looked more and more like a pot lid from behind, causing everyone to burst into laughter. Parker confusedly asked what everyone was laughing at. Nothing, we're just praising how good your new hairstyle looks. The leopard was overjoyed at the praise. The noisy commotion attracted hungry wolves. Vincent sensed the danger. At this moment, the starving wolf pack pounced. Parker was the first to face them, with a disdainful look, not caring who he was hunting. Dad swung the iron claws at the vicious wolves. His movements were clean, swift, and fluid. He alone could hold off the entire wolf pack, but Curtis, who had hibernated for months, was desperate with hunger. Let go of those vicious wolves, let me handle them. He then handed an end to Bai Jingjing. He immediately transformed into beast form, ready for a feast. With one swing of his snake tail, he could wrap up several wolf beasts. Parker, not to be outdone, killed them all without mercy. The wolf pack retreated in defeat, running for their lives. As long as the snake and leopard worked together, they could eat wolf meat to their heart's content. The snake ate dozens of wolf beasts until he was hiccuping. Vince had suddenly covered Ching Ching's ears and told her to cover in his ears too. Then he let out a long roar to the sky, startling the little one, who stared wide-eyed. It turned out the tiger was signaling to the people of the tribe. So much food couldn't go to waste. By now an inn was starving. Even in the icy snow, Ching Ching had to breastfeed him. Curtis, seeing this, called her to come to his arms. The snake and tiger immediately became tense. The girl was chased by several small wild snakes trying to bite her bottom. Luckily, she managed to hide in a cave in time. It turned out he had come to find his children, the little snakes. In an instant, strong winds blew and lightning flashed, so she instructed the little leopard cubs to collect firewood. The bone-chilling cold wind made them shiver. The delicate and end couldn't stop crying loudly, wailing and waving his little hands. He flung away the flint used for starting the fire. Bai Jingjing blamed herself for bringing in and out. The piercing cries attracted a snake. She was suddenly startled, thinking it might be a wild beast. But then the snake swiftly transformed into a handsome young man. It turned out this snake was her child. The girl finally breathed a sigh of relief and greeted the little snake. The little snake stood frozen, surprised that his mother dared to come see him alone. Bai Jingjing was confused by the lack of response, worried she might have mistaken the snake. After a while, the little snake came to his senses and waved at his mother. The girl handed him a new leather skirt. The little snake accidentally saw her breastfeeding and was filled with curiosity. Bai Jingjing quickly lifted it up, feeling extremely embarrassed. The little snake grabbed his mother's injured hand, feeling distressed. Due to his anxiety, he squeezed it, causing the girl pain. The little leopard cubs fiercely wanted to teach the little snake a lesson for their mother. Bai Jingjing warned the cubs not to fight. The little leopards immediately deflated and quickly backed away. The little snake kept blowing on his mother's hand to soothe it. Then he turned to go find some medicinal herbs. Meanwhile, the leopard cubs were pitifully picking up firewood. The girl felt a bit guilty seeing this. She thought it was time to take some necessary measures. So she called them over, promising them milk to drink. The little leopards' faces lit up with joy as they scampered over. Indeed, even if the sky fell, the promise of milk could solve everything. Not long after, the little snake returned with the herbs. If you came back any later, my wound would have healed already. She told a little snake to put on the leather skirt, but he twisted and turned, unable to put it on properly. This made the leopard cubs burst into laughter. These stinky leopards dared to laugh at me. Mom must be laughing at me too, but Ching Ching didn't laugh at him at all. Instead, she gently helped him take off the skirt. Then step by step, she taught him how to put on the leather skirt. After their joint efforts, the little snake finally got dressed in his new outfit. He reached out his little hand, wanting to help clean his mother's wound. The girl stared at this big hand, feeling endless emotions. Counting his age, he was only 19 years old now. In modern times, he'd just be starting university. Yet he or she had such a grown-up son, he looked more like a younger brother. The little snake carefully helped his mom apply the medicine. He worried if the medicine was okay. After all, the snake child was only 2 years old. While applying the medicine, his hand suddenly felt a sharp pain. The little snake worried about his mom's injury and wanted to wash off the medicine. But Changing said the medicine seemed to be working. It didn't hurt anymore. The little snake was half convinced but could only let it be. He saw his mom shivering from the cold. So he grabbed the flint to start a fire to warm her up. Seeing such a filial son, she felt very gratified. With a crack, the flint broke into two halves. The girl frowned, feeling it wasn't good. At this rate, the flint would be completely ruined. I don't want to freeze the death here. Fortunately, it was finally lit. Unexpectedly, the inherited memory of snake beasts was so impressive. From birth, they knew everything their fathers knew. When it comes to species advantages, it's still you, isn't it? At this moment, the little snake was blowing on the big flame. The next moment, the fire suddenly flared up, burning his face. He stumbled backward, falling head over heels. Chinching hurriedly went to check his injuries. The little snake pouted, his eyes full of tears. Bear with it for a moment, I'll use cold water to soothe your wound. So she immediately went to get the ice-cold spring water. The little snake pretended to cry in pain, looking pitiful. It might directly disfigure me, right? The next second he couldn't help but burst out laughing. You little liar, saying this, Chinching gave 2 punches to the snake's head. The little snake grabbed her hand, then put it on his little face, nuzzling and cuddling. Mom, please don't leave. The girl felt a bit reluctant and could only agree temporarily. Meanwhile, the snake, tiger, and leopard were out in the rain. Planting wheat, they saw the rain getting heavier. Parker worried about changing being alone at home, so he hurriedly rushed back first, returning home to find it empty. He thought she must have gone to find a little snake. He immediately went out to search in the howling wind and rain. At this time, Ching Ching was cuddling with a little snake. Even an inn couldn't bear to watch. Crying loudly, it turned out the little one had just pooped. Just as they were changing an inn's diaper, suddenly a roar came from outside the cave. It was Parker coming to take Bai Jingjing home. The little snake's face was contorted. He bared his venomous fangs at the leopard, looking crazed. The little snake beast snarled fiercely with his poisonous teeth.